Today I wanted to talk about why I want to spend 2025 reading a bunch of nature books. And it's mostly because I'm a nerd. I feel like the number one reason is that we're definitely going through a climate crisis. Right now, as I'm recording this video, I'm not sure if the fires in LA are still happening, but they have absolutely devastated people's homes and lives. And there's also kind of a little polar vortex happening where I live. And I feel like people are just overwhelmed by living through the climate crisis. And I am too. Like when the hurricanes were happening at the end of last year, I was kind of spiraling. And I feel like people would be like, it's the end of times, or like everything's going to shit and there's nothing we can do. And so I feel like I've just been reading a lot of books about nature to kind of contextualize the moment we're living through. Um, Also, like in my art, like as a painter and as a musician, I feel like I'm always trying to reference, like trying to process these times, but it kind of feels corny the way that I do it. Or like you don't want to be like, I fell in love with you, like how birds fell in love with the sky or something. Like it just feels like kind of overdone. And I feel like by reading a bunch of books about nature and the environment and our ecosystems, that I'll like get a better feel of like what kind of imagery or ideas I want to bring in. I feel like I'm kind of relating this to like making my own little grad school for myself and just like doing a deep and broad study of like environmental humanities type of stuff, like how we think about nature as like a society and how the ways we think about nature affect us socially, like thinking about how we share resources. And when we're talking about like sharing resources or capital, those things are like the earth's resources. We're talking about water and dirt and like cobalt, all stuff from the earth that we're like converting into like, I don't know, like little wireless microphones. um so I'm kind of thinking about reading a bunch of nature books, like how filmmakers will be like, you have to watch a bunch of movies, and when you watch a bunch of movies you learn about like different ways people have like put scenes together, or like use color or use sound or use a lack of sound or all that type of stuff. And by just like doing a deep exploration, you kind of like find out what your personal taste is. I feel like that's something that feels important to me right now, because I feel like I spend a lot of time thinking about like, how are we going to move through the climate crisis? How is that going to affect black people or poor people? How is that, how is this crisis going to like exponentially make the oppression that a lot of us face worse with when there's like a scarcity of resources, um, or there's like emergencies, like who gets left behind, who isn't protected, who can't escape from a like climate emergency, who gets left behind. Um, so yeah, I'm just kind of processing living at this time, and I'm kind of like, everything's getting freaky, everything's getting scary. Um, Donald Trump's about to be president. I don't know what that's about to do, but I feel like I have like a high tolerance for reading about the environment, and I have a high tolerance for like learning about the climate crisis. Um, And so it feels like it's my responsibility to spend my time researching those things. It's also really fucking fun for me to be like, oh, I'm gonna read about bats today. I have like a job where I do like education programs about the local ecology, and I feel like the parts of my job that I love the most is like when I'm about to do a program and I have to like either learn about something for the first time completely because I did not go to school for like ecology or environmental science at all. Like I'm either learning about bats for the first time and then I'm about to go teach a bunch of seventh graders. I don't know if I've ever taught a group of seventh graders. I meant to say 7-year olds about bats or something like that. And I love reading about like decomposition and like worms breaking down stuff. I love learning about compost. And I just didn't realize how big of a nerd I was about that like sciencey part of it. I always like came at it from like a like how is this thing impacting social issues perspective, and I actually am really interested in both. So I also um am interested in reading about those things and having a place to put those ideas. I feel like I'm always reading something sciencey or like exploring some like philosophical way of thinking about nature, and then I'm like I don't know where to put that idea, and I feel like putting these ideas into YouTube videos will help me like process what I'm thinking about a lot, like instead of me just thinking about like oh, we like to keep humans and nature separate and that's just floating around my brain. I can like share it with other people, put it out, and I feel like it'll make more room in my brain for me to think. I don't know why am I sticking my hand here? I guess because I'm cold, trying to look cool. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna read a bunch of nature books in 2025. Number one, I'm about to read those books because I kind of feel like I should go to grad school, but I'm not really into studying like environmental science. I'm not about to do chemistry class. I would be interested in like doing environmental humanities or like climate journalism or something where I feel like I'd be in just as a precarious position trying to get a job after getting a master's in environmental humanities as I would coming out of undergrad with a painting degree. I feel like that wouldn't really be a good financial decision. So instead, I'm just gonna like force myself to do that study and report back in little book reports to a YouTube channel. Um, and then number two, I'm trying to like be in my film bro, like music head bag. Is anybody a music head? I don't know why I said that. But um I'm just trying to like do a deep study to like figure out what I'm interested in when it comes to nature. If I do eventually want to like go to grad school for some shit, I want to be certain that it's something that I am actually interested in studying. And so I want to poke around more. I want to read Silent Spring by Rachel Carson, and I want to read Naomi Klein's book about capitalism and climate. And I feel like there's just certain nature books that would otherwise be boring to read if I didn't feel like I had a place that I was reporting back to talk about it. Um, yeah. I also noticed that on YouTube, I'll go and search like different nature books or books. I'll like search, oh, I just read Wasteland about what we do with our trash. And there's no like fun little videos of people reviewing it. And I feel like there's so many books coming out about climate change or like our relationship to nature. And it's all these like smart people writing these things. And nobody's talking about them, and I feel like it's important not only for somebody to like write about it as a journalist, but for normal people, normal-ish people to like also be discussing it and seeing how that reflects in our own lives. So I feel like this little experiment can like be a part of that. I think it'll make my art better. I think I'll be able, I feel like when I'm like, oh, I am into environmental justice, people are like, oh, Greta Thunberg. And I'm like, it's so much wider than that. Like, the environmental justice movement is actually like started by black and brown women caring about like toxic shit being dumped into their environments. And I feel like people don't know that. um, and so I feel like I'm also trying to like help people see the ways that like caring about the environment doesn't have to be like this corny thing where you like care about trees and stuff more than people. Like, this is also a way to care about people very deeply, is to see the ways that we're disconnected from our environment and like try to rekindle that relationship. So yeah, I don't know. I kind of am like, I love a YouTube channel where it's like some random pretty girl has like 10,000 subscribers and the videos get like either 300 views or like 200,000 views. But like it's only one video that has 200,000 views. Most of the videos got like 400 views. And they're just kind of rambling and they're like, this is my niche thing that I like to study a lot. And I kind of want this to be that type of vibe. So if that's of interest to you and you also want to geek out about like environmental studies and what people are writing about in nature books, then feel free to join me and like subscribe, like the video. And definitely leave me book recommendations because I have a running list of like 100 books about the environment, but I will always add more and rearrange which ones I'm about to read first. So thank you. Bye. It's so cold.